Hey guys, this is Spartacus here, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we are going to be talking about crossplay and the whole controversy of players using mouse and keyboard and players using a controller. And we're all going to tie this in together, and we're just going to dive deep into this commentary and just give you my opinions about the whole situation, if there really is one. And so I just want to let you guys know a lot of the examples I'm going to be using are going to be Call of Duty examples, because I am a Call of Duty player and that is my most experience when it comes to using crossplay and of course playing on a controller and a mouse and keyboard. One thing that has always just really bothered me is the fact that, you know, for years us gamers have been wanting crossplay to be a thing for just the longest time. We've been wanting where Xbox and PlayStation players can play with each other and, you know, bring in PC players as well. We can all play with each other, and we've just been begging for something like that to happen for years. And now that we finally see it today as pretty much a normal thing for the most part when we play multiplayer games, and we see it normal now, and it's just funny because all I see is people complain about crossplay. You know, I see so many people just complain about how unfair it is that they have to go up against someone who has aim assist on their controller, or they have to go up against someone who's using a mouse and keyboard and they're just really good at playing video games because, you know, they're on a mouse and keyboard. And it's just completely mind-boggling to me that for years we've been wanting crossplay to be a thing, and now that we finally have it, we just complain about it. And that's something that relates really hard with the Call of Duty community. I see that a lot, where we always beg for something to be added to a Call of Duty game, and once we finally get it, that the Call of Duty community just starts complaining about it. Like, there's a lot of hypocrites out there. Like, there's just no like shortage of hypocrites out there, and so I think that majority of people complaining are hypocrites in general. But I just think it's just hilarious and just really upsetting in a way as a gamer that, you know, we've all wanted crossplay and now everyone just seems to be bitching and complaining about it. And so the reason why people do complain is mostly to do with the way that people play the game, you know, whether that's using a controller or a mouse and keyboard. You see, controllers do have aim assist, which of course can help you win gunfights, especially when playing Call of Duty, where mouse and keyboard players, they don't have that aim assist option. Now, admittedly, if you're playing on PC using a mouse and keyboard, there is a lot of different benefits that you can get that console players do not have. For example, an FOV slider. Even though Black Ops Cold War does have an FOV slider on console, but Warzone, which is really the huge scene in Call of Duty right now, Warzone does not have an FOV slider on console, and a lot of console players, but a lot of console players anyway, they complain about that. That is huge, and I can definitely understand, because sometimes when I go back and play older Call of Duty games that I have on my Xbox, I realize there's no FOV slider, and I'm just not used to it at all. And I think from starting from Black Ops Cold War, I'm pretty sure that every Call of Duty game is going to have an FOV slider on console. At least I hope they do. And so I can definitely understand that whole situation there where people complain about the whole FOV slider situation, how PC players are always going to have that benefit where console players don't. And it's definitely understandable, because you can definitely see more around you the bigger your FOV slider is actually put at. I usually have mine at 100. I know some people keep it at 120, which I just think is completely absurd. I don't think I'm going to get to that point just quite yet, but it's very understandable why a lot of console players do not like the whole FOV slider situation, just because they don't have access to it. But then of course the tables turn when PC players complain about console players who of course use a controller and they have aim assist. Now, if you use a controller on PC, I do believe you have that aim assist option enabled as well. So realistically, when you go up against a PC player, they're not going to have a controller hooked up to their computer. I mean, there's definitely people out there like that, but most true PC gamers use mouse and keyboard, and they're the ones who complain about people using a controller and having aim assist, because they just think it's completely unfair that they have that aim assist, because in a way it's like a mini like aimbot hack in a way, just because it's helping you aim better. But I'm going to be completely honest with you, that's something that I don't really complain too much. Now, admittedly, I am just starting out on PC gaming, so when I die from someone who's using a controller, I never blame aim assist. It's usually because I feel like I'm just a bad player overall. But anyway, yeah, I definitely see a lot of mouse and keyboard players complain about the aim assist feature on controllers, and I find that really funny, because as a controller player for years, like my entire life, I've been using a controller to play Call of Duty. It's just funny because as someone who's been playing with a controller for years, I've always kind of thought that people who use mouse and keyboard were just superior at playing video games, because I felt like you could get every single benefit using a mouse and keyboard than compared to a controller. And what's funny now is, now that I've been trying to play more PC games and more, I guess, games using my mouse and keyboard, I've kind of realized the restrictions that mouse and keyboard players actually do have, especially when you're first starting out. So a good example is actually movements. Like, especially when you're playing Call of Duty, I feel like moving around, sprinting, jumping, and I guess crouching, all that kind of stuff, I feel like it's a lot more comfortable using it on a controller, but maybe that's just because I've been using a controller for years. And when I move around on Call of Duty using a keyboard, it just feels a lot more clunkier to me. For some reason, it doesn't feel as smooth, and I think that's an advantage a lot of console players have when using a controller, is just the movement. But one thing PC players do have that's a little bit more beneficial is the mouse, right? Realistically, using a mouse is a lot easier to aim with than using a controller, and especially with sniping, especially long range fights, is a lot easier. Close range, not so much. You're definitely gonna have to have a lot of practice to win close range fights, but long range gunfights, using a mouse is by far more superior than using a controller. And I know, like, this kind of ties in with the whole aim assist situation going on with controllers out there, but honestly, I feel like using a mouse is still more superior than controllers having aim assist. But that's just my opinion, okay? That's just from my experience using both a controller and a mouse and keyboard. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts down below, the whole controversy of whether you guys hate people who use controllers with aim assist, or maybe you hate mouse and keyboard players. I'd like to hear your thoughts about that down below. Now, from what I've talked about so far, it seems like the biggest issue when it comes to crossplay is really the controllers that people use, whether that's, a mouse and keyboard or an actual controller based on whatever console you play on. That definitely seems like the biggest issue when it comes to crossplay. However, there is another thing that is definitely really frustrating, and it's not really a real, I guess, issue in crossplay in general. It's more just a PC side of things, and that is hacking, especially when it comes to Warzone. The hacking situation in Warzone has gone completely out of control, and a lot of people are assuming that Warzone's going to be dead if they cannot fix this hacking issue, just because of how many people are hacking this game. Because we know that Raven Software and Activision, they're banning all these accounts. Like, oh my goodness, they're at like, what, 500 million accounts banned right now, which doesn't mean anything, because when they say that they banned 500,000 accounts, it makes it sound like 500,000 people are banned. Well, I guarantee you most of those hackers out there have like 20 different accounts that are just getting banned over and over again, just because you can just make a new account for free, right? It doesn't cost any money to make a new account. And of course, Warzone is free as well, so it makes it a lot easier for hackers to get into the game. And oh my goodness, the hacking issue is just completely unfair. But the thing about Warzone is that it is crossplay. The game is crossplay, so console players are going up against hackers who are on PC, which is really unfortunate. It's not just PC players go up against these hackers, it's also console players as well, because of the whole crossplay situation. Now, obviously, this hacking issue is mostly at fault with Activision, because they don't have like some sort of anti-cheat in place, and I feel like Warzone is probably the most hacked video game ever. I know older Call of Duty games get hacked because they don't get supported anymore, like Black Ops 2 is hacked like crazy, same with Modern Warfare 2, but I guess it was like that back in the day as well. But I feel like Warzone's at a bigger issue here, because the hacks are like unfair facts. It's like wall hacks, it's aimbot hacks, and it's just everything that just makes it where you can't beat a hacker. It is extremely difficult to kill hackers in Warzone. There's like, you basically have no chance of ever killing one, just because of how unfair the mods and hacks they put into the game. And so Activision really needs to get an anti-cheat, and what's mind-baffling to me is that I don't see hacks like this in Fortnite or in Apex Legends. I don't see these kind of hacks in those games. I only hear it in Warzone, and maybe that's because, I usually just follow Call of Duty news. I am a Call of Duty player after all, but I really don't hear about other multiplayer games getting hacked as nearly as much as Warzone, and I don't really know what the reason for that is. Does it actually have to do with with an anti-cheat system? Do they actually have good anti-cheat systems for those video games, whereas Warzone doesn't? Because if so, then that really shows that Activision needs to put anti-cheat in the game. But like I said, that is definitely part of the crossplay situation, is that console players are going up against other PC players who could potentially have hacks, which is just really ugly overall. And of course, PC players, ones who will play legitimately, of course, they are actually getting accused of hacking, which is very unfortunate. The really good PC players, yeah, they're getting accused of hacking, and that's how bad the hacking situation is in Warzone, is because good players are trying to get called out for hacking, even though they're not. And so I think that is the biggest issue that really does rely with crossplay, and is the whole hacking thing, and of course I mentioned the whole mouse and keyboard and controller situation with aim assists. That has to do with it as well. So there is definitely some issues going on with crossplay, but I really do think that crossplay is the most beneficial thing that we have in gaming, because first of all, especially when it comes to playing older Call of Duty games, it'll be a lot easier to actually get in lobbies now, because you're always restricted to play on that one platform. Well, now you can just enable crossplay and you can play with anybody from any platform. So as these Call of Duty games get older, it'll be a lot easier to find lobbies if you want to go back and play it or something like that, which is definitely a good thing. But like I said, the whole hacking situation is just making things so much worse, and I don't really know why that hacking situation is so bad in Warzone. Like I said, maybe because the game is free and they just don't have an anti-cheat. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I've talked on long enough for this video, but that is really my opinion about the whole controversy going on with crossplay. And I just want you guys to be aware of that kind of controversy that people don't really talk about too much, even though I know a lot of people talk about the hacking situation in Warzone, but nobody really ties it into crossplay. So anyway, I think crossplay is an awesome thing. I love being able to play with people from other platforms. I think it's amazing. But yes, I can definitely understand the whole hacking situation and why that needs to be resolved. But when it comes to using aim assist on controllers, or going up against mouse and keyboard players, I mean, that's just whatever, that doesn't really bother me. My friends they always bitch and complain about going up against PC players and mouse and keyboard players all the time, but it doesn't really bother me that much, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think realistically everything balances out in the end, even though, yes, of course, PC players can have better graphics and, have the FOV slider, but realistically, I don't really see too much of an issue with it. But with the whole hacking situation, how console players have to deal with PC hacks is pretty annoying, and so that's something I could definitely understand. But anyway, that is it for the video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you leave a like if you did, and of course subscribe to the channel for more Call of Duty videos every single day, and I shall catch you guys later.